Hey guys, what's going on? It's Josh here with epoxy, and today we are finally going to go ahead and put the undercoat on our John boat project right here. So the undercoat project that we're going to be doing today is going to be called Fasco Super Slick 2000. Picture of it right here. It's beautiful, works great. The reason I went ahead and chose Fasco Super Slick 2000 over some of the other competitor brands was that the overall mill thickness of the actual epoxy coating that we're going to put on the bottom, finished product, it ends anywhere between 3 to 6 millimeters thick, which doesn't sound super thick, but it honestly is. But mainly the product, one, creates a super slick coating on the bottom of the boat, and two, it's going to encapsulate every single one of the rivets that we have on the bottom of the boat and going up the side of the boat on most of the boat. I'm going to bring it about 10 inches up the side on the side of the boat, just so it's a little bit easier going through reeds when I'm out duck hunting. But obviously, as you can tell, I've already started stripping the boat. I've started to use a wire wheel, a grinder with a wire wheel, a grinder with a sandpaper flap disc. I've used paint thinner. I've used whatever I could to try and get this paint off, and it's on there pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead, keep trying to get this paint off. As per the instructions with Fasco, they want the entire surface that's going to be painted to be prepped to around 80 grit. They said you don't have to remove all the old paint, but I'm going to go ahead and remove all the old paint on this boat because I have no idea how it was prepped, or yeah, so I don't necessarily want to put some expensive epoxy down over top of some cheap paint and then have the paint start chipping and the epoxy start chipping. So that's why I'm taking all of the paint off. I would highly encourage you to do the same, at least as much as you possibly can. Obviously there's going to be some that you're going to struggle to get, but overall this is where I'm at. It's taken me a couple hours so far, but I think it looks pretty good so far. I have this whole side done. That's all done and completed, ready for epoxy. And then last night I started experimenting with some paint stripper up here in this front region. So whatever paint this is, it's tough. I'm gonna say that it's some tough paint, but I'm determined to get it off. So we're gonna go ahead and start putting some paint stripper down on this side of the boat this morning. Alright, so the paint stripper that I'm using is called a 2-in-1 remover advanced. I don't know if this is the best or not. This is just what they recommended me at the hardware store for taking paint off the aluminum. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I've had 2 coats on the front of the boat, and yes, it's getting it pretty clean, but this stuff has to be laid on extremely thick in order for it to work. So we're just going to keep going down the side of the boat, putting it on really thick. And yeah, make sure you guys are wearing gloves with this stuff. I know I'm not, but I'm keeping my hand out of it. Also, wear a mask if you want. This stuff is going to be made with harsh chemicals. Not the greatest for you to breathe in, but just so you guys remember. Okay, so we've let this cure for about 10 minutes or so, and we're just going to take our putty knife and just start testing to see if it's going to come off, which looks like it's gonna. However, it's still on there a little bit. There's obviously some sections that are doing better than others, but just kind of want to go around, agitate it as much as we can. And then once we get it all scraped, what we're going to go ahead and do is actually get a hose and spray it off with water. It's the easiest way I've found to clean it up. It goes the fastest. And you can see, using the putty knife and scraping, it takes it off pretty easy. I mean, if it's loose, it's going to come off. If not, you're going to have to go back with a grinder or a wire wheel or something to get the rest of it. This is what I was talking about, how stuff works alright, but it's not the greatest. So we're just going to keep scraping and hopefully get a lot of it off. Okay, so prep's all done. All of the surfaces that we are going to be epoxying and or painting have been prepped to roughly 80 grit, wire wheeled around all the rivets. All of the surface that we are going to epoxy is done. So now what we need to do is go ahead, wipe it off with grease remover or acetone, whatever. Just get all the dirt off, and then we can finally start mixing. Hey Lex, can you pause your thing quick, just for a couple minutes? Alright, so we finally got the boat all taped up, it's ready, it's masked. Now we're going to move to mixing epoxy. So I bought the 1 gallon kit because I wanted to go up the sides on my boat. People say that you can get away with using the quart kit. I didn't want to test it too far, so I bought the 1 gallon kit. So we're going to be mixing a ½ gallon at a time. So I'm going to measure it out on my scale here into this big green bucket. We're going to do 1,166 grams of part 2, and then we're going to do our pigment. You mix part 2 and the pigment first before you add part 1. These kits are pretty specific on what they want and how they want it done, but once we get that going, start mixing it up. We want to make sure we mix it thoroughly, and then we're going to go outside and start applying it. I'm going to use the tape method here. Make sure our scale turns back on. And put the piece underneath it. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and take the pigment. This stuff is really liquidy. We're going to pour it in, about 57 grams of the pigment. And now you want to mix. You want to make sure that these two parts are mixed very thoroughly before you add the part 1 into. So I'm just going to sit here and stir it up. And it turns black almost instantly. So, or I guess what other color you're choosing to do.
No machine mixing, right?
Nope. And the directions online say do not mix it with a machine. I want you to hand mix it. Mix it with a machine and you're going to cause the product to heat up, and it's going to want to cure faster. So you're also going to be putting more air bubbles in when you mix with a machine mixer, which might give you a kind of a crappy finished product. So you can smell it now.
Yeah. I do this in a ventilated area. I spray paint my basement, so.
There you go. Pretty black. So now we're going to go ahead and add our 1,166 grams of part 1 to it. Set it back on the scale. Alright, once again, we did the tape method on the bucket just to make it a little easier. And we are doing 1,166 grams of part 1. So in we go. This is going to be the hardener. This stuff's thick. There we go. Once again, we went a little bit over, but you pretty much want to start mixing immediately. Start getting the chemical reaction to go. I'm just going to clean up here a little bit first. Make sure we seal the lids back up. And now we're going to mix. So we're done with the scale. And this stuff's going to get pretty thick. But you want to make sure that you work it all in together. I believe the directions online said mix for like 5 minutes, but you just want to make sure it's all incorporated really well. Brief intermission in today's video. I want to talk about a company called Hunt360. Now, Hunt360 has recently reached out to me and asked me what they think about their website, and honestly, I think it's amazing. Now, you're probably asking, what is Hunt360? Now, Hunt360 is a website based on gear and product reviews for the hunter. It's not anything not hunting related. It's everything that has to do with hunting. Backpacks, trek poles, optics, arrows, broadheads, you name it, it's on there, and they're adding more every single day. Now currently they have hundreds of companies within their realm already, and they're currently adding more every single day. So what does that mean for you? You can go on there when you're trying to buy a new backpack or new arrows or new broadheads, and you can compare reviews that people have left between Eberly stock and Alps, or Alps and Black Ovis, or if you're looking for broadheads, Magnus versus Schwacker, G5 outdoors, whatever. You can go on there and look at the reviews that people have left on their experiences using those certain products, and so much more. Now, if you guys are interested in checking out Hunt360, what I need you to do is go down into the description, click my link, sign up, make a free account, and just start browsing. There's so many companies on their website that need more reviews. They need, we need the hunter's input. Everybody has their own opinions about everything, and why not share it on a public platform for everybody to share and view. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of today's video, and don't forget to check out Hunt360. Thank you. Alright, so the instructions want you to pour it and work one side of the boat first. However, we have two people here, so I'm going to pour a line down on Wyatt's side. I'm going to pour a line down on my side. We got gloves on just because this stuff will get on you and it will not come off. We got some 6-inch foam rollers and then some body filler spreaders just to try and push it around a little bit. But here we go. It's really want to make sure you're working it into all the cracks of the boat. You know, you don't want to have excess built up in places. You want to make sure it's a nice even coat. It is going to take quite a while to spread it, so having somebody here to help is going to be pretty important for you. Really make sure around all those rivets too, you're working it in, getting those rivets nice and sealed. Now this is just the first coat. We are going to go ahead and do a second coat on it. So you still want to make sure you get a nice good coat going over the whole thing. This stuff is extremely watery after you pour it on a boat. They want you to do it in conditions that are favorable for the epoxy. So like 75 degrees to a maximum of 95 degrees is what they say online. And today we're right about the, I don't know, like 78 mark for where I'm at here in northern Iowa. But we just want to keep working it everywhere we can. Make sure on your edges of where you have all your tape, you're working it in. Alright, so that was first coat. Don't know if we're going to do a second coat yet because this one laid down honestly really thick. And I don't know if I'm going to need a second coat. But here in a second I'm going to give you a close-up of just what around the rivets look like, how sealed up it is, and kind of from that you can get a little bit of a idea of how thick this coating just really is. Alright, just trying to give you guys a close-up with the rivets right now and how like encapsulated they are by the epoxy. It's thin but thick, if that makes sense. Goes on really thin, but it tends to harden pretty fast. But the overall coating of it looks really nice and should work out really well. So, all right, here we are sitting with the final product of the Fasco Super Slick 2000. And I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, this stuff it's slick. It's honestly really amazing on how slick it is and how well it encapsulated all of the rivets and sealed off, you know, the rivets for the boat. So with this last part of the video here, I just want to go over everything that I learned doing the super slick coating to the bottom of my boat to make your guys' life just a little bit easier. So online they have a informational sheet based on all their different epoxies that they sell on their website. So if you go on there, you can look up all the directions on how they want things prepped and if you're gonna do multiple coats and stuff like that. So started off, I read those the other day, and it said for aluminum to use some sort of acid to etch the aluminum or sand it to at least 80 grit, if not a little bit higher. So right there I knew that I needed to take all the paint off the bottom of the boat and definitely make sure that all of the oxidized bare aluminum on the bottom side of the boat, because the bottom side of this boat wasn't painted. It was only painted to right up around here. All of that needed to get sanded, scuffed, or wire wheeled. So that was definitely the most headache when it came to this project, 100%. Also, me being me, I went 12 inches down the side on each side of my boat, and I went 12 inches down on the back side of my boat as well, just because this is my duck hunting boat. I do plan on running it through thick reeds. I do plan on running it in some shallow water. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I had this slick and epoxy hard coating on a good way up the side of the boat and on the back transom, just so that way I make sure I can slide through stuff pretty easy. So next thing I wanted to talk about was mixing the actual coating itself, how much to buy, and just the overall putting it on. So when I watched a lot of other reviews on people doing this, most guys went ahead and used a 1-quart kit for the bottom of their 1436 John boat. Now, my boat is a Bass Tracker 2, so it is 1648 on the bottom, but I went up the sides and the front pretty far as well as the back, so I'm adding easily another 20-25 square feet of surface area on the boat. So what I opted to do was purchase the gallon kit through Fasco. I just thought it was going to be a little bit better for me. I honestly didn't know how much I was going to need. Could have I gotten away with using 2 1-quart kits? Yeah, probably. I mixed up half a gallon, used it on here, and I had probably about a 1/4 inch left in the bucket of epoxy that I could have spread on this. But just knowing that I had extra just in case I messed up something made me feel just a little bit better. The price wasn't too bad through Fasco Industries on their website. Shipped to my door was $231. So yes, it's a little expensive, but it's not as expensive as some of the other competitors out there. And with some of the other competitors, you have to reapply that yearly. That coating needs to be reapplied yearly, and I haven't really seen anybody need to reapply their coating on their Fasco Super Slick just yet. Now when it comes to applying this mixture they say you can use rollers, brushes, or some kind of like squeegee basically. I used a roller and a brush. We tried to use a squeegee and it just really wasn't working out for us too well. It would push it all around, but it wouldn't get it to where it would build up a good coat. And I'm sure that just comes with, you know, the style of squeegee we were using. However, the roller seemed to work best for us. We used a 6-inch foam brush roller. Don't use a nap brush. The nap brush will fall apart on you and it will give you little bumps all over your paint. We had one of the foam brushes start falling apart on us, so I kind of have some of them here and there, but honestly it'll get knocked off, it'll get ground down. It's whatever. The little bumps here and there aren't going to cause this too much drag in the water. But overall, the application was pretty easy. The big things we just wanted to hit was that all the rivets around them were sealed in and pretty much flat with the sealant. So we wanted to make sure that all of the rivets were sealed as well as getting good coverage. So with that, we noticed when this started to tack up, when you would go over places, it would start to pull off the coating that you had already put on there. So you got to work with this stuff pretty quick. It says it has a 15-minute working time. However, today we probably got about 25-30 minutes out of it. But about 15 minutes after we were done, whatever I had left in the bucket was hard as a rock. So definitely make sure that you have everything prepared on time for this. You're not going to waste time. You're ready to go once you mix this epoxy up. It would also help if you had a buddy who was here to just help roll it on and to go over, you know, what he painted versus what you painted. Sometimes you can't see an imperfection and somebody else will. So, but overall, this process was extremely easy, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who has a John boat that just likes to go fishing, or they're building a duck boat to go hunting, run through reeds, and or shallow water. I mean, this epoxy coating is going to protect the bottom of your boat. It's also going to give you a little bit of hydrophobic properties in the water. This stuff does not like water. I've already came out here, drizzled some water on here, and it runs straight off of it. I've pushed a cup down it, and just a little tap gets the cup going pretty good, completely empty. So it's honestly pretty impressive on what this stuff can do, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who is interested in purchasing the Fasco Super Slick. This stuff is incredibly easy to install. It just takes a little bit of work, a little bit of elbow grease, and in the end you come out with a great product that looks awesome. So right now I'm going to go ahead, give you guys a walk around of the entire boat as it's finished, so that way you guys can see it all. This entire project took me right around 6 hours to do, with sanding and masking and then applying the epoxy. So if you got a good day, good afternoon or something, got a couple buddies over, you guys can absolutely knock this out in one day. Weather permitting, it's got to be a certain temperature. I believe Fasco recommends 65 through 95 degrees, no colder, no hotter. And this stuff does need to cure up for quite a bit. I mean, I wouldn't recommend putting it in the water the next day after you do it. I definitely give this some time to harden up and adhere really well to the metal. So I hope you guys can see just how flat and smooth this is, and it's incredibly slick all the way down it. It's just really slick. So this stuff's honestly incredible. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on the Fasco Super Slick 2000. If you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comments. I'll happily answer anything for you guys. Doing this project was really fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.